Yes.
Rankin.
Yes.
Crawford.
Here.
Fisher.
Yes.
Henson.
Yeah.
Dickerson.
Yes.
Simpson.
Here.
Public comments on the agenda.
We have our meeting tomorrow night, so please come. 6 o'clock.
Is that an open meeting?
Open meeting, come on in.
Oh, everybody show up.
You
Everybody
said
show
6
up.
o'clock?
6 o'clock is the
6 o'clock.
annual meeting or budget meeting, and then, 7 o'clock is our regular meeting. So 6:30 is another meeting, and then 7, so it'll be a busy day.
So you got 3, 6, 6:30 and 7?
We have 6, 6:30 and 7.
All right, February expenses, general fund, $23,102.46. Sewer fund, $8,116.16. Major streets, $32,703.09. Local streets, $4,000. Need approval of consent agenda, February expenses, and regular meeting minutes.
I got a change on the minutes. First page on communications, probably about the 5th bullet point down. Mowing budget was not reduced, it was increased from 78 to 9,000. I don't have a bid from Shane Morris yet, so we're thinking it's gonna be higher. Last bullet point under communications, under Parks and Recs, it says township manages all park funds with oversight from Mel, and that should be Melissa. I'm sorry, Janelle, but you don't have anything to do with that.
Mel and Melissa, okay,
It should be Melissa, not Janelle.
okay.
If I misspelled some, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
That's all I had. Motion to accept?
Got support,
I'll support it.
discussion? Roll call.
Simpson.
Yes.
Dickerson.
Yes.
Henson.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes.
Strong.
Yes.
Communications, I guess we should offer Mr. DeStefano the first chance.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Dave DeStefano. I'm the Commissioner for the 4th District, which includes Village of Bloomingdale, Bloomingdale Township, City of Nobles, Almena Township, and Pineville Township. So that corner that, the northeast corner of the county. You guys are always good with directions, that's why I was looking at you. I gave you a sheet of highlights. My predecessor used to do little highlights for the month, but the county does one and they do such a nice job that, did you get one? Barb?
I did not. Thank you.
It looks like,
I'll share with you.
it looks like, yeah, okay. So anyway, just a note, that's accessible too. If any of you folks want to get that sent to you monthly, go on the county's website, Board of Commissioner, and then it'll say, notifications. And if you hit that notifications, you can sign up and it'll send it to you directly every month, along with some other notifications you might be interested in. But I think it's helpful to see what we're doing, and that's kind of why I wanted to be here to communicate with you folks, because I want to hear from you folks. So if you know what's coming up on the agenda and it's something you're interested in, something you want to provide some input, I'd love to hear it, because I don't want to bring to the table just my own preferences and ideas, even though they're really good ones. I would like to know, what's going on in your community and what your issues are, and if it's being impacted by the decisions we're making at the county level. I'd certainly like to make sure I'm heading in the right direction. So just a couple of highlights that I have on this list. There's that broadband update number 1. We had an installer default on us, Mercury, and they just said, we're not gonna do it, and it was a project, luckily not involving you folks, but in Lawrence Township, and they just pulled out and they're out, and we don't have another contractor to do the installation, so it was really unfortunate because we had the funding, but I think they didn't feel it was, lucrative enough for them possibly, and walked. So now we're scrambling to find another, provider, and it looks like the poor folks of, Lawrence Township won't be getting their broadband for maybe up to a year, 9 months to a year, which, you know, for those working at home could be truly difficult. The other thing, the AmeriCorps host site, we've just hired our, liaison person to work with AmeriCorps Community Redevelopment. And what we're using them, to develop housing in Van Buren County, which we have a shortage of. So, we have a great opportunity to work with them and some funding to do it. And we're gonna see what kind of housing projects are needed and where we can put them and see if we can make some progress there. The Hartford kayak launch, we actually did, meet and voted to approve a donation of the Meacham properties, for $1 to the county to actually give us access to the Pawpaw River. So that project will be moving forward and kayakers should be happy about that. So there's some other good stuff in there. Oh, we did, take out a $7.5 million loan, basically to pay you folks and the other municipalities in the county your tax revenue. And then we pay that debt back when tax payments come in and we retire the debt and then we start all over again the next year. So that's how it works. So, any questions, issues, comments? So I will, I'll try to be here on a somewhat regular basis. I have 2 on Tuesday nights and 2 on Wednesday night, and generally I can make those. So, but if I'm not gonna be here, I'll provide you with the county summary sheet so that you know at least what's going on. Okay? Thank you, everyone, for your time. Thank you for voting for me too. If you didn't, thanks for your time. Well, we'll leave it at that.
Alright, next, communications, park and rec update.
Okay, we had an incident Saturday where we had a couple with a truck and a camper crashed the gate, drove all the way up and tried to park in the campground, of course buried the truck. Tom Rock was there before I got there, called dispatch. I had a state trooper there in probably about 10 minutes. We filed trespassing and damage, about $500 worth of damage. Tom pulled the truck out and then he went and got his Bobcat and got the trailer out so that they could get that, and that was out by Sunday morning, must have been Saturday night.
They went by my house late Saturday night.
Yeah, I saw him, when he left there, I saw him driving around town, so I don't know where they're at. My brother Bill's gonna bring some dirt from across the road with his Bobcat and put it there. They are going to spread it out and fix the damage. That's part of the fight. Apparently, if Bill gets it for free, they won't have to pay anything for the top dirt, but they will have to fix it. I have their names and so does the state police. The frost-free hydrant up there froze, so we have to replace the frost-free hydrant up there. The swing set down below is disassembled. We're gonna hopefully paint it this weekend and then reassemble it next week, and then we're gonna have to put it in concrete, so that's done. It's very wet there, so talking to Mel, we might hold back on the April 1st opening because there's no way we're gonna get anybody up on top and with a camper. So that's all I got for Parks and Rec. Any questions?
Alright, on committee reports, start with mine. Everybody has a packet from a local real estate gentlemen, comparable market analysis on the village property. Just for looks, we can ask them to come in for the next meeting, give people time to look it over, get questions, see what they wanna. And then we can decide, put on next month's agenda, how we'd like to proceed. It'd be enough to probably pay our village sewer off pretty easily.
Does that mean we don't have a sewer bill anymore?
No, it
Just
doesn't.
means while we're alive, we're not gonna worry about increases.
Oh, okay.
Spent some time down with Roy and Kurt. Matt was down there, he brought his power washing guy in, we bought some parts for our old pressure washer down there. Instead of having to lean over the wall or climb down in there, we got a 6-foot wand with a round head on it that spins, so you're not going back and forth, you're just moving it, and it just eats all the algae and everything off there. A, you get away from anybody having to get down in a confined space. B, nobody's back's gonna be hurting bending over a cement wall. I did it for 7 hours last year, it's not a good time. This way, it's a lot faster, high pressure, it's nice setup, it was about $680 for everything, but the gentleman put everything together, made sure all the hoses fit, hooked it to our machine, and has tried it before he even walked away. Talking to Kurt, it's been a back saver, and a time saver. So Matt called me one day, the front door opener was broke, the door was slamming shut. Luckily, I was at work, but I had a friend swinging by my house. I have 4 of those door opener closers in my barn from a clean out we did, so I just had to bring 2 up here. I provided it, Matt fixed it. We're all in the business of saving our taxpayers money. I'm gonna bring the other 3 up here in case we have anything else to do, or anything else goes bad. It's better than spending $100 on something I have sitting in a barn.
Thank you.
Updated everybody's concerns with the ordinance officer and left him the filled out required sheet for everything that was turned into me. I did not see him that week, he was sick. He came in the next week and I worked that Thursday, so I didn't see him. Talking to the gentleman where I'm in the dump this last weekend, somebody was there because they filled up one dumpster and 3/4 of another. So I think Deputy Tarter made it around town, got some people to haul some stuff in. Had some more complaints about the one north of town, next to the Emson family. I don't know if we got any of that cleaned up.
He moved it from the back of his house to the back of his garage. I don't have to look at it.
I'm just worried about the garbage inside and drawing the rats.
Oh, we are too. We live by him.
So it'll be addressed this Thursday. I'll have another form filled out, we'll have to go out there again.
And if he needs a truck, I got a truck ready.
We're not waiting for the free dump day this year, cause it's gonna be too bad by then.
It's right down. It goes all the way up to the roof of his car.
And let them know you fixed the front door.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Noel and I worked on it together, so Justin's provided the spring, because it was getting, where it was slamming shut, and I'm like, we're gonna break the door, so. Thankfully Justin had it, and then Noel and I worked together and got it done, so.
3 more we're gonna put in the closet in case anything else goes bad. Alright, treasurer, not here, I'm trying to find my sheet.
Well, I know about the combining the accounts.
No, it's,
Vermont.
oh, alright. Account balances of February 28th, 2025, general fund, $395,569.87. Money market, $108,466.35. Major street, $147,946.41. Local street, $31,047.97. Sewer savings, $4,796.31. Money market, $108,466.35. Sewer checking, $6,341.87. Sanitary sewer, $1,564.12. Bond and interest redemption account, $26,400.12. $45, consumers, money market, $416,161.98, that is 50/50 general fund, and the other half is sewer. There's been talk of, after going through our ordinance, we can cut 5 accounts down to 2. One will be our bond redemption account, where we'll keep the money in because they automatically withdraw. Then we'll have one other account with a separate ledger for the 5 branches it needs to have in it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to keep 5 checkings and savings accounts open. That's a financial nightmare. So how would the council like to proceed?
I'm changing that, the accounts, is that what you're talking about?
Dropping it from 5 to 2.
I make a motion that we do that.
I'll second it.
Steve was talking to me about that quite a while,
Yeah.
right after I got on the council.
Discussion? Roll call?
Strong,
Yes.
Rankin,
Can I have
Crawford.
discussion first?
I already called discussion.
Okay.
He did say that,
So what do you think, you're doing something like this then, you're gonna have one account for sewer?
With the ledger.
Okay,
There'll be
then
two-
this would
there'll
be
be-
the checking account for operation?
There'll be 2 accounts, one for bond redemption, bond and interest redemption, cause they take it out automatically. We have to transfer it there. And there'll be one other account with a ledger with 5 arms of it, just like that.
should be the main one, and then you could be subs.
All
But
5 of
kinda
those
like
will
we
be
have
in one
now.
account.
Well, the ordinance says, at least this ordinance, which is 25-100, which is not the 25-150 that has all the bond stuff in it. All the money goes here. And then monthly, you put it into your operation. You don't, if you read it, you put money into your operating and maintenance to satisfy that month. But otherwise, your money goes here. Then you make payments into your debt service. But that's really how you make that payment is determined by the other ordinance, 25-150, which is your second page that you guys all have. And so they want you to put money into that quarterly for your bond payment. They got a crazy formula, I don't know why they're doing twice the interest, because they're having you do 1/2 interest per quarter for your payment. So I don't know why they're doing
We
that.
make 2 interest payments, so you would make 4 quarterly payments.
You make 2 interest payments.
It's right on our sheet.
Why are you making 2 interest payments?
Because it's set up to make a principal payment May 1st and an interest payment, and then another interest payment.
Okay, so you're
November
making 2
1st.
payments,
You're making.
half interest per year. So, okay, so it still doesn't explain that, why they're doing half per quarter. Cause that ends up with 2 times the interest, so I don't understand that, so. All I did here was make a flow chart so I can better understand what the one ordinance says. The one ordinance is more focused on, operation and maintenance, debt service, then improvement and system extension, where the other ordinance is more on making the bond payment.
And we can, according to the ordinance, we can have 1 account total if we want,
One account total.
and then we just have to have a separate ledger for the other ones.
As long as it's separate from the general fund.
Yes.
And you have money that's invested, right?
Yes,
The interest from that is separate from the general fund?
yeah, that's an even.
Has to
split.
be, because the interest goes back into the sewer
Yes.
fund account.
Correct.
Okay.
Bonding a general sewer account.
Okay, but not general fund, the
No,
general fund will come
general
off that.
sewer, yep, general
Okay.
sewer account, and then a bond and redemption, which we have a bond, we have a bond redemption account
So the motion is for 2 accounts.
for just the sewer. 2 sewer accounts.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Roll call again.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dickerson,
Yes.
Emson,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes.
Strong.
Yes.
Clerk.
The Southwestern Michigan dust control for Brine again, it's 3,625. Because it's over 1,000. Gotta vote on it again.
Need a motion?
I'll make a motion, we pay Southwestern Michigan dust control bill.
Second.
Discussion? And nothing but great comments on how good a job you guys are doing plowing and salting, so. Very good winter.
Very nice, yeah.
Roll call.
Strong,
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Emson,
Yes.
Dickerson,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Direct deposit for paychecks came along with the QuickBooks, but I just need to know if that's something we're okay with doing, that we move forward to that direction instead of having paychecks done. And it works for Kurt and Roy getting, cause they have weekly paychecks.
So who would all, just Clerk, Kurt and Roy would be the ones that would be direct deposit?
Are you talking about us
We
too?
can do it
Council.
for
I don't
everybody.
wanna be-
You don't want it? Okay.
I
There's
not for
an-
myself.
There's an option
Yeah,
to still
not
have
to have it,
paychecks
yeah.
done. It just makes it for the guys instead of waiting.
Totally, yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
Cause up to anybody's preference. It's just, I didn't wanna move that direction if it was a no for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I want it.
I like seeing the check.
You want me to
If you
check
go
as
for
well?
that deposit, I don't see it. It's like, what am I doing for the check? But a little bit of reward, that's good.
You want a paper check, Thomas?
Not I.
Direct deposit.
We'll still get a stub,
Yeah,
correct?
direct
Yes.
deposit.
Yep.
She likes to see
Bart
that.
wants to be paid in greenbacks.
Well, no, I just,
Just like you check it.
I save my checks and, you know, and then I cash them and then that's, you know,
Money.
play money.
Yeah.
That's my play money.
That's her play money.
This is all going to federal tax anyway, don't matter.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we
I'll
go
second
to
it.
direct deposit.
Also with that, we can set up online bill payment also for people who would like to pay a sewer bill instead of writing a check.
I like
Yeah,
that.
that would be nice.
Now, and I know that some of the community, they don't have to do that. It's
It's a
no,
choice.
Yeah.
It'll be
Opt
another
out of doing
opt-in.
that, but-
You guys need a motion for that, or you guys just?
So when you start doing it, will you like notify all customers?
Well, we're gonna have to get something set up.
Yeah, I have to
first, and then
get
we
it
can
all-
Notify everybody.
Yeah, cause I know when you click into it, you have to make sure it goes to a specific account, and that I have to look into and make sure it goes where Melissa puts everything, so.
So it's
But that is
automatic,
an
would be
option.
an automatic withdrawal then? Is that what you're talking about?
No, you go
Just-
online and make the payment.
Yeah, there would be a link in an email.
Like I pay my gas bill.
Yes, yep,
You can set it up for taxes also, people,
yeah, I see that as an option now, so.
ways to make things easier. These young kids wanna do everything on computers.
You count yourself in there?
Yeah, I think he does.
Is that it?
Got my card in the kitchen.
Thank kids. Yeah.
It is roll call for this.
Yes.
Strong,
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Emson.
Yes.
Dickerson.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Grant oversight.
Oh, sorry, that's me, isn't it? We missed on the ARP because we don't have a website, and you had to have a website in order to apply for the grant. I have the Kubota one almost finished, it's due in 2 weeks. I found one, actually Janelle sent it to me, and I didn't find it in my email until today, which is due on the 22nd for, beautifying the grants, the parks, sorry. And that would include trash containers, flowers, trees. I don't know if we want to do that one or not.
Is it a match, you said?
No, it's not. It's,
Free money.
Make America Beautiful.
How much of a grant is it?
Anywhere from 2 to 10.
Well, why
10.
not?
10.
Do it.
Well,
That's
we
a lot of
wanna,
plants.
we wanna do the cement, cover the park and, you know,
Yeah.
cover the,
We
Fence
wanna
and-
fix that fencing here
Yeah.
in town.
yeah, that's what I mean. Well, we wanna
gravel.
go under it with the, we wanna put that stamped concrete if we can.
So yeah, if you got time to do that, get it done.
Yeah, right away.
Did
No,
you find
no,
anything
you
about
can't.
that Greenway? Did you find that book on that?
I did not.
Okay, I think Mel might have a copy of it,
Okay.
ask her. There's really good pictures of the parks and stuff
Okay.
in that.
Alright, the John Deere one that I was putting in for was Legos.
For Legos?
Building Legos with the depot, for the depot.
Maybe that's
I got it almost written and I started
Tom?
going through and it was Legos.
Tom, can you make our foundation of Legos?
If you have enough of them, maybe.
I think that was it on the grant, so.
Have you been able to find any state grants for like road projects?
I did. I bring that stuff in? No, I didn't bring the grant ones with me, they're in my bag.
I did receive an email back and forth from somebody at the county, there's a shortfall of, and they were gonna lock it in and didn't know what to do, I was sick for a couple days, I haven't been in, I finally got hold of Jeff Wingard today and said, listen, I emailed him back and said, we'll make up to $536. Let's not cancel any projects over $536.
There is one on roads and it was, I don't think that was the one I threw away today. There was one on water I threw away because Buren County isn't included in that one. But it wasn't very much, it was like $10,000.
We don't have any water.
We don't have water problem.
Did you, check out that CLG at all?
No, I didn't. You were supposed to send things to me and you didn't.
I thought you would just take it and run.
Just take it.
Budget.
I ran all right.
In the budget, since it's our first month, we don't have anything yet, but I do wanna say I worked with Janelle and Melissa, we wanted to make sure our bank balances were matching the books because apparently that hadn't been done for a while, but Melissa does excellent work and she has excellent records. And we are spot on and her and Janelle worked really well together on that and I was really happy to see all that.
Parks.
I have nothing on Haven Park, but for the depot, we did get the geostructural survey back.
Yes.
Did you get it?
Yep. I just
Print
got
it
it.
out, if somebody wants to look at it, here it, apparently it is billable underneath there.
Now
So, the structural engineer has this already, and did you get my email about meeting Friday?
just Friday?
Friday at 2:30? You can't do it, it's all meeting down there.
I'm
I
not-
also got a hold of Randall, see if Randall could meet, and he's gonna see how the day goes. But, it looks like it's where we wanna be for the bottom of the footing is hard clay. There is some water on top, but we think that's seasonal from the snow melt, and then that'll evaporate over the summer. Doesn't seem to be a problem, but what's below that is, I think he's, I don't know, I didn't read it, I think maybe 2,000 PSF.
We
Somebody
voted-
wants to read it.
We voted to okay this last month, so we don't have to vote to pay this bill, correct? She can just pay it.
No, we said up to that amount, okay, so we can go ahead and pay that,
Yes.
okay. If anybody wants a copy of this, you can either take this one and I'll print another one, or
I can make copies.
it's not gonna mean anything to you, it doesn't mean much, so.
1,500 pounds per square foot.
That's all I have.
Alright. Sewer,
I don't have anything.
everything's going pretty good, we're gonna start pumping next week, we're gonna start this week, ponds are filling up fast, blow the melt off in rain. Paw Paw's not accepting samples this week, so we're gonna start Sunday, probably run at least 2 weeks to get it back down to the lowest level we can. And then let the pond turn over for a month or two, get everything out of its system, settle back down, we can pump again without having pH problems. Right now, our pH is really good. That weed kill last year did a nice job.
So what are we running right now with pH?
7.5,
7.5?
7.5, 7.7.
Have you been pumping to get it down?
No, we haven't pumped since January.
Because last year we had that problem with,
We were down about as far as we could go with ice still on it.
okay,
And we were supposed to start up this week and pump till April 1st, but with the lab closed, can't, so we'll still get a couple good weeks of pumping and we'll get it down before April 1st or May 1st, whatever that.
so we won't have the same problem that we did last year.
No, and when we had, Gail sent the information for somebody to come down and calibrate stuff down there. So the pump is set up, we can run it full bore, 500 gallons per minute if we want. It will shut off at 200,000 gallons a day.
I thought they limited us with our permit.
200, it'll shut off at 200,000 gallons.
So we are limited.
Yep. And it's set so it won't exceed the limit. And we've been over by 10,000 gallons a day. State wasn't worried about it, everything was still pretty low compared to what we were. So we're doing good, and now it's set so it won't go over.
Keep them happy.
Adjusting that to get it like 140 on the screen to get your 200,000 gallons a day. By the next morning, it might drop to 99 or it could go up to 160. So it's something you gotta watch, but now that it's set, they can pump full bore. Only get shut off at 200,000 gallons a day and we don't have to worry about going over. Saves a lot of headache for our guys, myself, and Fleece and Brand right after their letters. Streets,
We haven't had a meeting yet because it's still melting, but, we're gonna do that this next month. Get you guys together. And, Roy and Kurt have gone around and have a list of where they've seen a lot of the sidewalk damage that we'll have to look at this year, so they got that for us. And I'll get ahold of everybody and we'll get together and have a meeting on that. We've got, you know, somewhat of a 5-year plan that we're gonna, gonna present and stuff, and, you know, we know the streets we're gonna start with this year and stuff, and, Kurt said he can grade, Rum Ring when we need him to. He's, you know, had a little more experience in that than what we had before about doing the grading on Rum Ring, so we'll get that done too. It's not real bad right now, you get down it pretty good, but it's better than it was.
and when we do the road work from the bank to the North Village limit, we're gonna have all those millings put down there next to the 170 yards of gravel the township bought us last year. We're gonna redo that road, cover around the corners of the ponds that don't wash out with some of that ground up asphalt, some muddy areas. Probably giving some back to the township to fill in around the dumpsters where they got some water issues now. They were nice enough to give us $4,500 worth of gravel last fall. I talked to Tim Remington a little bit. If we have some leftovers, when our projects are done, we may be able to use that to offset the cost of having them spread the gravel and the millings and roll everything out for us. So if we have enough, we can get the work done around the dumpsters, our road, and maybe get out of it for not paying next to nothing. Which is better than writing a $4,000 or $5,000 check. And that road will be done back from the main street all the way back to the sewer plant, and we won't have to worry about it again for a while. Which is our ultimate goal. As Gail can probably tell you, it gets muddy back there. and after we did all that clay around the pond, it gets really muddy. But we'll have a 400 to 500 yards plus of asphalt millings to use, so we'll be sitting really well when that project's done. Ordinance enforcement.
I was going through our ordinances and I found an ordinance, enforcement in our ordinances and my book. Anyway, it was stating in there that, we're supposed to be sending out, instead of sending out an officer right away, we're supposed to be either personally going to people's places and letting them know that they're in violation of blight, or we're supposed to send a registered letter. We haven't been doing this, I don't know why, but I think it's something that we should be looking into, because I would find it less offensive to get a letter first than to have an officer knocking on my door and scaring me. I don't know what everybody else thinks.
I'm all for mailing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Some of the
I
people
don't
I'm
think
not
we
willing.
should personally knock on people's doors, but.
Yeah, I won't go personally knock on doors, no, that's not me, but I'll do letters, there's no problem.
Well, I have knocked on doors and it's much better to mail them.
But some of them I have like,
You guys discussed at the meeting about our-
Well, we did have
The guy we
three that
met
were
with.
ready to
We haven't
take
talked
it.
about it yet.
But it sounds like we got, since the officer went around, we got some action. I
Yeah.
know the strip house
Yeah.
on the corner, kitty corner from me, that front yard looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had
That
a lot
might
of
be,
it on the
somebody
trail.
brought down 3 loads, and I was talking to the guy down there, he said, cause I went back in the afternoon, and he's like, yeah, one dumpster we were throwing in the morning was overfull, and the other one, you can see trash coming out, so I was like, wow.
That might have been
He
that.
said, so they've been busy,
Good.
and the guys who dropped the 3 loads off said the cop stopped by and visited him, so he had to get moving.
Well, good.
And I gave him, like I said, everything that was turned into me, so he probably had 14 different sheets filled out in his box.
And a couple of them I have, when I've gone around since then, I have seen that people have really kind of have stepped it up and
I'm glad we didn't wait for the free dump day, cause
Yeah.
it could be pretty out of hand by then.
yeah.
Maybe
And
that'll be-
everybody's starting to clean up their yards now naturally anyway, so, yeah. So if we're in favor of sending a letter first,
Yeah.
then, and do you want me to do that, or you want Janelle to do that? Who do you want to send the letters?
If you wanna get somebody to fill the addresses out and send them on my desk, I can send them out. I'll just-
Can I ask where these letters are going? Are they going to the homeowner, or are they going to who's renting the property, or what? Because it should go to the homeowner.
That's what I think, homeowner.
How do we know who's the homeowner and who's
Yeah.
the property owner? We
Well,
don't.
usually you know by the house. Oh, seriously, I mean, we pretty much know what the rental houses are here in town. So if you have an address,
Well,
we
if I
can
got a,
pretty,
if I got an
pretty
address
much check it.
of a house,
Yeah,
I
we've
would
always
ask
been able
Janelle,
to do
hey,
that pretty well.
what's the mailing
So-
address, either for the property
Yeah.
tax or the sewer bill?
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we ought to then send one to the homeowner, but also to the person
the
who
landlord.
occupying.
Oh,
Send
yeah.
it to the landlord and,
You're not gonna send it to the renter, are you?
No.
Or are you gonna send it to the guy who owns the
You
property?
want-
You're
send
gonna
it
have
to
to
the
find
guy,
his
the owner.
address on the tax records over at the county.
Because if you fine them, the homeowner is the one that's gonna pay the fine, not the renter.
Right.
And
She also wrote up 2 letters, so
yeah.
they're in your packet.
One letter was basically for the ones that have, yard debris. Like some people I notice that have wood fences and the wood fences are all knocked down and pieces are all over the place. Other people had, junk cars that had been sitting there for longer than the 6 months and had a lot of car parts laying around the ground with it. And, or ordinance states that junk cars that are not licensed either have to be in an enclosed structure or not be there, so a lot of people move the vehicles out. So we have a letter for both of those things.
Can I make a comment about ordinances? Did we all get the same book?
We should have.
Okay. Some of those ordinances are been rescinded. Anything that starts with a 25, it isn't 25-100 or 25-150. If you look at the back of 25-100 or 25-150, it says those other ordinances have been rescinded, but they're still in the book. Why, how should that be handled? Should they be taken out and then in their appendix, still will have the numbers there and it says rescinded? And same thing with the ordinance we have for our building inspectors. There's 3 ordinances in there for plumbing inspector, mechanical, and heating. And we have 1 ordinance that covers all that.
Yeah.
So those should not be in there either, and so
They should be
in the appendix, it
rescinded.
should say rescinded. Do we have anybody working on that?
This is all for me.
All right to me.
I'm looking at the ordinance.
She was
committee
the older
there.
audit.
I'm
She
I'm
did the
reading-
books.
And I only found those 2 sets, and I know there's some in there that are dated 1960.
Right, that's the problem, there was so many older dates on stuff, and then it
So
came up.
if they no longer apply, or we don't want them to apply, are we gonna rescind them?
If they're already rescinded, we can note it in the appendix that it's been rescinded and we'll remove them. But we gotta vote to remove any others or rescind any others. And if you go through the nice open meetings packet, we do not have to wait 90 days after we publish an ordinance to enforce it or make it go in.
I don't remember an open meeting.
This, and then that book, that general village law book, read through them. We do not have to wait 90 days after we vote on it and publish it in the paper to enforce them.
When I wrote the one that combined plumbing and mechanics, we did rescind those, but it was never finished. So,
Never published?
I don't know that if it was
Published it,
published,
but
but
Is
we
that
never-
one of the setbacks?
yes.
Cause I asked Randall about it and he said, he hasn't seen it, so that's because
Okay.
we haven't done it.
Well, I didn't bring my jump drive
I
with
thought
me
we.
today, otherwise I'd
you-
print it out.
You, Barb and I were on the committee,
Mhm.
and I thought we didn't finish that all the way through.
I was never invited to a meeting, so.
Yeah, you and Tom and I sat right there at the end of that table.
Tom,
Want me to tell you what you said?
yeah.
No.
Please. You said that you agreed that we had to follow the township setbacks.
Oh, okay, yeah, that I do remember.
Yeah, but here's the problem, in the village, we got lots that are 60 foot.
So where is
Yep.
that?
It's on my jump drive.
Make a list, get it to the ordinance committee of things.
It gets very confusing.
Make a list,
Looking at
She's
that.
on the ordinance.
make a
committee.
list, get it to the ordinance committee, and they can start working on it.
Which I am on.
Just one comment on that. So we
Yeah,
are having
that's
our
still
lawyer go
on.
through them. We've already had 2 that we've realized are not enforceable anymore because laws have changed. So we're kind of working through 2 at a time, and it's expensive to do it with a lawyer, but they do know the law a little different. So when you guys do actually make a decision what you're gonna do, probably be best to run it by the lawyer and say, hey, does this look correct? Because some of these were from the 90s and 70s, and they're just, they no longer.
50s and
They're mostly 60s, yeah.
So just a word of caution.
Old business, we have nothing on the agenda. New business, number 1, ordinance change for hired employee wage change.
In regards to, Melissa. But that's all I know, because it says she's capped, so that she has to ask for the ordinance to be changed, so she can ask for a raise.
compensation one.
The compensation.
Yeah.
And, what I had said was I thought we needed to take the treasurer and the clerk off of it because they are actually hired by us. And so that one needs to come off. It would be just the president and the council.
And the pro temps.
Yeah.
Was that the one you had to do figures in red?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Don't matter.
What?
My son voted no, so it don't matter.
Well, no, take it out.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me that it's in there.
The other day I wondered why is that in there when the guys aren't in there? Like, what's the difference? That's what I wondered.
Just transferred over from, cause they used to be voted in and they were always on the same ordinance.
Yeah.
That's why,
I just wondered.
it's the only reason it was on there. Yeah, but they can't get a raise, I mean, even if they're not on there, they can't get a raise unless it comes before the council and the public anyway, so.
Right.
So it's up to council's pleasure on what you guys wanna do with this.
And that was 2008 when those wages were established, and that was 17 years ago, so. I think that could change.
It's up to you guys.
So do we wanna vote to
Somebody's gotta make a
omit
motion
it, or to raise it?
I think it'd be a good idea to have a committee to look at
Cause
stuff.
we'd have to redo this ordinance, we have to vote on the ordinance and we have to publish it anyway.
Yeah.
You gotta redo the whole ordinance.
Oh, joy.
You just have to remove
Yeah.
those two and their salaries from it. Unless we add our part-time and full-time person to it, which would create more of a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Cause then we'd have to enact an ordinance, new ordinance every time we wanna give somebody a raise.
Right. Which should start costing.
So,
Because it's on the ordinances, should the committee be the ordinance committee, or do you want a separate?
well, that'd be an ordinance committee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be
Ordinance.
Okay.
So come to the next meeting with,
Our motion to take it off.
I second.
I just really thought.
any more discussion?
So how are the salaries, how is the pay for
Then remove the
Clerk.
whole ordinance.
and treasurer determined?
It's the
Set
same
by the-
as what it was, but it's,
Set by the council.
Yeah.
So if we wanna give them a raise, we won't have to write a new ordinance, vote on it, publish it, wait 30 days or 15 days.
I understand that.
Why do we have to have an ordinance for salaries anyways, for anybody?
well, it's the compensation for the president and the council so that the town knows.
Public knows. It goes back to before the boom and bust of '08, there was a township in California, not much bigger than ours, that were paying their trustees $845,000 a year.
Oh, go on.
Until the budget.
Score.
Wrong, wrong state.
I just wanna work for a couple weeks.
But if we wanted to raise the salaries of the president and council members, do we have to do that at an open meeting like Matt has
Yes.
to do for?
Yeah, I think the ordinance.
The way we do have to do it is there's a resolution 30 days prior to when the meeting is, then the public votes on it. Is the way
So you do it by resolution?
There's a resolution, that way it's on file, cause resolutions are forever documents. So that's where I would say for you guys, if the president and the board members, it should probably be done by resolution, cause it's a forever document. As far as contract employees, I'd remove all of them. That way you guys can do what you feel is right.
How did the last, they just raised the presidents a year ago, 2
Mhm.
years ago, how did we do that?
Voted on it.
We voted on it in our meeting.
So if you're a charter township, it's very different, we're general law, so it's different also, you guys are
Our
charter.
village is way.
You have your own
township.
rules,
Yeah.
so I guess you guys can look into that, I guess, if you're doing it that way, you could probably continue to work
Lawyer,
your work.
I would make sure we don't do something.
I'll-
Municipalities have very different requirements than
I will contact one of our attorneys and see if I can get free legal advice from my retired one before I make a $200 phone call. And I will let everybody know what I find out. But we can go ahead with the motion that stands to remove them, have it rewritten and published for next month.
So I got a motion from Gail, a second from Robin. Correct? Roll, Strong,
Yeah, I guess so.
Rankin,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Empson,
Yes.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
New business. Number 2, ordinance 25-100 revenue chart.
I printed off these two ordinances with the flow charts, kinda already discussed those a little bit, we made that motion to, as long as we followed these, I'm fine with that. I'd really like to kinda go over our bond payments chart here, and do you have some information for me?
I got information for everybody.
This is, all I show here is our payments we made up to 2024. But, are you gonna get that up page?
Yeah, extra payments that you.
Well, we're
come
gonna
off
make
the bottom.
payments up from the bottom up.
Yes, that's legally how we have to make payments.
Yeah,
Extra
it's
payments.
it's in the 25-150, that's how it says, you have to make it combined. But is that,
We have to pass a resolution.
is that principal only? Or did we pay interest on those?
Principal only.
Principal only, right?
That's right. So,
Principal only?
And that's
what
why
that did,
you
is
see that.
reduced our interest payment every,
Oh, quite a bit.
every year too.
So you're up to, you paid from the bottom up from 2052 up to 2039, so we have 1, 2, 3,
13 years worth of
4, 5,
payments.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Look at that.
11, 12, 13, 14 more payments to make.
And if you sell your land, then you won't get
Yes.
that.
And we can make those payments if we make them in a lump sum,
Yep.
or make like 2025, and if we wanna make another payment, like on the bottom,
You can make the
2038,
payments
we do
$1,000 at a time.
What'd you say, Steve?
You
What's
can
that?
make the payments $1,000 at a time.
We have to give them written notice,
So increments of $1,000.
but we can give them, what is it, 60 or 30 days?
So if we just pay off the principal, how much do we have to pay off? That's the 465,000? Then so left,
We've already got, well, as of currently, yes, but we have another payment to make in a month,
yeah,
May 1st.
so that'd be less than.
Maybe about 437, 436.
Okay, so you're thinking about selling some property,
Yes.
paying all these off, is it?
If we don't have enough, we'll use what we have in our account, one of our accounts, we'll have plenty to pay it off. Which would be our goal, so while most of us here are still alive, we will not have to raise rates. That 50,000 a year we're sticking into bond and redemption payments can go into that repair and improvement account. So, and we won't need all that after a while, so that can pay for higher wages, higher increased costs.
In other words, 25-150 is done. What you're saying is you pay this off, we no longer are be holding on a bond. So that means 25-150 is gone.
We won't have to have the biannual audits. The extra audits won't be required. It'll become a business of the village. But I mean, I'd probably say the soonest that could happen. I wouldn't expect it to happen in the next 3 to 6 months. I mean, it's not gonna happen immediately, because once, it takes a while for this, unless somebody walks in with a big stack of
Moolah.
$1 million bills, I mean, we gotta still give them bondholders notice before we have to pass a resolution, give the bondholders notice plenty notice before that we're gonna pay them off, what years we're gonna pay off, what amount. So it's 6 to 9 month process if we had all the money right now. I mean, we could pass a resolution next month to make 2039's payment.
Well, the 25-150 is what set our $44 rate.
Yeah.
So if we don't have, and if we're supplying everything else that we're supposed to, as far as banking money for improvements or whatever, like it says on our 25-100, are we going to reduce that 44?
We might.
We'll
I
have
would
to
like
wait
to
and
see us
see.
not pay anything eventually.
I mean,
I would,
the way you paid these off before is because we had the blueberry payment that was by contract, like $73,000 a year. So you were making payments on that.
oh, when we made
Well, your 465 is pretty much what the state says. State says this is your financial dashboard from the state treasury. And this shows up to 1.3 million, and then we made some pretty big payments right off first couple of years. Then it's been these double payments all the way down, so we're about 465. I'd have to get back on, but everything that we do is visible on the state treasury. So all our plans back to 2010 are on it, and not just discharge, there's a lot of stuff on there. If anybody wants to know how to find that, I do have the address here, so. My question is, were we paying those without interest? Which,
I wouldn't jump to cut rates right away. I'd probably give it a year to see how things go. As we know, nothing cost-wise has decreased in the last 10 years.
well, one of the things you're gonna have to look out for is your asset management plan. You know that we got a grant in 2016 to have Fleece and Vanderbilt do a study on our plant, and this one is the wastewater. These are all available online from the state. You look up SAW and you'll find a catalog of 750 pages. You gotta look in the menu and find Bloomingdale down there. What they're predicting, they go from 1 to 5 to 5 to 20 years from 2016. Just redoing, maintenance in the village, it's $500,000. And then they also talked about lift station. The concrete is bad, we're gonna have to replace that sometime or another. And then there's also the, possibility that we gotta dredge out the ponds, which is a big expense.
The previous 40 years in that pond, we had a foot of sludge.
Some point in the future, probably gonna have to dredge it.
So probably
Big
another
expense.
30 years.
My question is, without getting another bond, are we putting money away to handle these expenses in the next, I mean, the $500,000 was in 2016 dollars in this plan here.
That's why I said I wouldn't even think about reducing rates right away. That would.
Well, that's my question, you know, and the reason I bring this whole thing up is, how much money do we have put away?
We blew a lot of money in the last 2 years out of the repair account.
I know.
A lot of money.
I know.
And we don't have to.
I think it's something we're gonna have to start thinking about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
That's part
are
of the
we
reason.
putting money away to handle some of these expenses that Fleece and Vanderbilt is telling us that we are going to have
And
to?
that's part of the reason I wanna,
I mean, you've done a lot of stuff on that plant.
but that's part of the reason I wanna get rid of that, possibly sell that property and pay that off. We have that extra $50,000 a year we're saving. Could we cut rates with 50 grand a year? Yes. But would that kill us in the long run? Yes. Take that 50,000 for 10 years, there's a $500,000 right there.
So we have to replace it.
Plus, if anything adds into our system, the old nursing home, new subdivision, anything else is just gonna add to that pot. Now, we would not pay for an extension outside of our village. Whoever wants to add to our system will pay for that.
Yeah.
We will not pay for that. They will have to use Fleece and Vandenbrink engineering.
Well, we should be putting money into system extension. That's one of the 5 funds we put into.
We can put money into it, but we are, as a village, we're not gonna pay to extend sewer for anybody else.
No,
They'll have to
it
pay.
should be, if anybody does, like to school, okay, yeah, that's an indirect. They should pay for the design, the work, stuff.
And I've
But our ordinance says that we can contribute to that. And if we do, all the indirect goes back into system extension fund, all the fees for that.
But we don't, I really doubt the council would, I mean, they might vote to pay to help somebody else hook up, but I really doubt
They
it.
might sell it to
Why, nobody
a
will
developer.
pay.
And whoever wants to paid, if they wanna develop 10 acres and put 10 houses in there, they wanna pay to extend the pipe, and they wanna use Fleece and Van Brink, since they designed their system, they're more than
Well,
welcome.
Say we did extend out there, and they paid for it. Okay, we take over the sewer lines.
Correct.
Are we responsible for the roads? Cause the sewer lines are underneath the roads. Are we going to annex that property? We'd have to have the okay with the
We
township.
don't even have to annex the property, they can be, whoever hooks that up can be responsible for that to where it meets the village. We don't have to accept responsibility for that. I mean, that's,
No, cause
I have no desire to pick a fight with the township and try to annex property. I mean, that's not a battle, a hill I wanna die on.
But you're investing in something that betters the whole community. Cause if you annex that, you got a bigger tax base, you're taking a single property that may be worth 200,000 and times it by 10, depends on how many lots you have on there.
But if it's outside
the If-
village, we don't get a bigger.
We'd have to have the okay with the township. Township would get half the taxes just like they do now. But we would get tax money to pay for taking care of the road. The sewer fund, the tie-in fees, which is a one-time fee, but the sewer fund payments, sewer fees pay for the sewer. So you're taking a piece of property and you're increasing the tax base that benefits not only the township, but the village. Why would you not wanna do that?
Oh, no, we could ask, but it's not if it's a no, it's not something I really wanna.
Yeah, I think at this point, we need to wait and see what the school's planning to do.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing.
I mean, we're just
is-
throwing ideas out.
And I
there.
talked to him, and I talked to Tim, and I gave him Fleece's number and said, here, they're gonna redo this road late summer, early fall, so I would ask if it's something that you're interested in, talk to them and see what a cost would be. It'd probably be wise to have it done before they went and replaced that road.
Well, right now with it being a school, there's 0 taxes.
Well, I just think it's something we ought to think about. We've got a big piece of property on the other side of West Street that's in the village limits that could be tied into the sewer system. There actually is property still available between Monroe and Miller, which would be butt right up to your property, which is in the village limits. Why aren't we investing in developing those areas? It's going to help the community, it increases our tax base.
Off where?
Hmm?
Off where?
Between Monroe and Miller, on the south side of the tracks. With Webster's old property.
We already have
There's
sewer
a,
lines.
there's a
running
spot there
through.
before you go down the bank, to the paved drain there.
We already have a sewer line that runs down.
So when you start adding 20, 30 homes to the community, your tax base goes up. You've got 1.9 students per home going to the school, which increases the money the school has. We got more people shopping down at the store. It's making an investment, and I think we should be thinking about that. How can we leverage some assets we have to invest?
I mean, pretty much
This
everything.
is something I want you to think about. I'm not
Everything in the
asking-
village limit, there's, that we can run sewer to minus Miller Road, and minus past their house by the woods. Everywhere else, their sewer pipe ran in town, somebody has to pay from their property to hook into the main line, there's a trunk line everywhere. We wouldn't run farther.
Well, I think we're at the limit as far as the sewer goes that way, unless it's pumped, because Graham's not
Yeah.
hooked up. I think they're over the 300 feet or something, and
Yeah.
then otherwise they'd have to do a pump
No.
system.
Yeah, no,
Goes downhill.
Yeah.
neither does,
So, I mean, anywhere else there in town, we have sewer line ran that it would be people's responsibility to hook up to, and we're not gonna pay to hook people in, like personal residences. I mean, there's a sewer line that ends 20 foot from my front door.
I'm bringing, I just remember when Tom was president, and the association sold the property that the bus garage is out from under. And I had designed 19 houses on that, 3 phases. And then it was sold to the school. I remember Tom was very upset because that tax base, possible tax base is gone forever.
Yeah,
And it
figure
slipped through our fingers.
25 to 40% of the town is church, school, and non-taxable.
It was a tragedy as far as I was concerned. And we had other spots in town, they could have used Van Horn's property down there and do a bus garage and we never suited for them.
They had property right up to the school they could've used too.
Yeah. I just would hate to see those type of opportunities slip past us.
No,
I
I've been
think we
working
should
with,
start thinking about investing
I've been talking to
in
the
our
school,
community.
I've been talking to the school board, school superintendent, probably every other week on that piece of property since the question was brought up by them and with lease. So yeah, we're still looking at this. I mean, it's not a dead subject.
Just gotta get the township to go along.
Let's wait and see what the school wants to do with it first. Before we go
Pressure.
creating another horse, let's wait.
Nice for them.
Anything else?
I have one thing.
Public comments, yes.
We had a bite of somebody from Kalamazoo Swift come in and do a program a Saturday ago. And he's looking for some place to put a vending machine, which would mean electricity and an awning. So, we get 5%.
Looking for a vending machine for where?
And for bike parts,
Oh, for bike parts. Oh,
Talk to Shane. Talk to Shane, see if we put it in the corner restaurant.
yeah.
so. This is just the guy's card.
Cover the electric.
It should, yeah.
What about down in the park?
They
Huh?
have to run off our-
Well, I was thinking around the depot, but I talked to the Baja board and we don't have any awnings.
Oh, any
So-
awnings? We put up.
It has to be under something to keep most of the rain and stuff out. It is going to be closed, he has cameras on it, all that.
So it would just be like a garage, metal
Mhm.
garage awning?
Yeah, because
You-
the
you wanna do
closest
it-
place they can get a bike park is in South Haven. Nick
Right.
and I have taken people to South Haven that have been stranded down to the park.
And it would take cash or credit card, so
Shane got enough
But do we get a percentage to village?
5%.
Or maybe the front of the grocery store?
The front of the grocery store, I know.
Well, the grocery store might be a good spot.
Ask
Plus
the
it brings-
AIC because the grocery store's leaving.
Are they?
Yep.
Kinda figured
Grocery
they were.
store's leaving.
What's their date?
Do you know,
I heard the end of the month.
This month?
Okay,
Oh my God.
I wondered. I didn't know exactly when it was gonna be, but
That's what one of the employees said, that they were told end of the month. But the AIC was notified that they weren't gonna renew their lease.
So you guys gonna put it for sale then?
I don't know, I mean, the guy doesn't have any skin in the game because he only pays $500 a month.
right,
He's had a sweet deal there for a long time.
PAIC,
And we pay for all the repairs and,
PAIC interested in selling it then?
I don't know, I'll ask at the next meeting.
It didn't turn out.
Alright, any public comments?
Yes, I got just a few couple things. My name is Curtis Dickerson, and we've got a Freedom of Information Act request that I'm just publicly submitting to you guys. This is requesting the meeting minutes and the transcripts from the February 25th Board of Appeals session, including the closed executive session. I would like the meeting minutes transcripts from that as well. And Justin Crawford, I'm presenting or serving you with my claim of appeal with the 36th Circuit Court. So you have to respond within 2 weeks. Thank you, that's all I have.
Alright, any other public comments? Motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
second.
I don't think you need a motion, you just adjourn.
Alright, adjourn.
All right.
Shortest meeting.